looking at this, and I really hate how I did all of that. I think I'm gonna run it up through this hole, the intercooler piping, and maybe just barely touching the hose right here or something and crossing over. I'm not really sure, but this is not it. And then the other thing is this oil dipstick is supposed to go there. Not really sure why it's not going there, but I'm gonna cut off this piece of metal and just flatten it, and I'll re-weld it. This is much better of a situation for the intercooler routing, and this was basically at a right angle because it was right there, but that's of course much better. Sweet. I guess I've been leaning on this core support so much that it was bent at least level with the radiator, probably lower, and that was when I made these. So now I have to remake those. I'll just send a piece of square metal straight up, weld it, and now the hood closes. I do have to build some bracing, maybe with just like a piece of rod going straight down, connect it maybe to here or something, or like with a bracket, because when this deflects too, keeps the hood from actually latching. First, I started out by removing the intercooler and radiator because all that hot metal flying around, I didn't want to cost myself more money by not removing them. The dipstick was easy, just tack it, you know, move on, paint it, beautiful. Then I got to the radiator supports. I cut myself some metal, tacked them on. Then once I got them tacked on, I really just welded on them both sides. And I kind of like welding thick metal. It's fun and it doesn't burn through. Next, I made the core support, so I just took the original hood latching bracket, turned it sideways, and cut out the flat part, and then welded that to the frame. The negative of doing that was at the bottom here, where I attached into an existing bolt hole, is where I had mounted up the intercooler really tight too. So I had to cut the brackets off for the intercooler and remount the intercooler, which was not expected. Here we're looking at the old antenna hole. I finally welded that shut, and I checked the inside. I definitely penetrated. And then I put a little guide coat on it with black, put some Bondo over it, and just blocked it real quick. Real easy. A long time ago I welded the gas cap shut, and it warped the heck out of the metal. And so I spent some time welding those holes shut and trying to grind them a little flat, and then put some Bondo over it and then block that off. These are the old spoiler holes, and again, just open to the air. It was very intense not melting my Lexan, so I always had a bottle of water standing by to spray down any hot metal. And luckily I didn't do anything wrong. I grinded it flat too, and it's pretty okay. Bondoed it, and I took off the hatch to get the other side too.
I don't know what's wrong with me. I've obviously welded that a long time ago, and it's not tight. It's not pulling on it at all. And then when you pull on this, it's like pretty loose. It's not really like direct. I don't know. Yeah, I gotta fix that. It's always something. I just cut the arm, but something that was happening was I don't think that there was enough tension on this piece, and so I wasn't really able to close the valve in the exhaust manifold. So I'm gonna grind this off just a little bit more and cinch it down with a weld, get it real tight, and then I think I'll actually be able to build boost.
Alright, so here's my strategy. You can see that this kind of wobbles back and forth, so I'm going to weld a collar that aligns that. Keep it straight. It's going to look sick.
So I got the boost controller valve thing all lined up where it won't move. Oh, it will a little bit. I'm wrong. But anyway, it doesn't move much. And it just comes straight out. Because before there was like way too much play. Now it's in there pretty tight. I think it'll work. Time to start welding a bunch of stuff. This is normally where the fuel pump access would be, and I'm just gonna weld that shut.
You've seen this thing before, this type of thing before. Line up the metal with the magnet. It's not perfect. Oh well. No one's gonna see it. There you go. Tack it on. Try not to warp it too much. Once I got it tacked on enough, I started going for smaller tacks and then going for actual welding beads. I don't think it's too hard. I mean, perhaps I don't know what I'm talking about and I'm not even doing it right, but just welding thin metal is about patience, and I understand the welds are very cold when you're talking about patience, and I eventually turned the machine in such a setting that I could actually start laying down some beads that'll hold down the metal. But yeah, like I said, I think sheet metal is just hard to weld, and it's also pretty simple at the same time. Just wait. If you ever start going too fast, you're going to start melting away metals and you're going to have holes. I didn't care much about grinding this perfectly flat, just knocking off the tips of the weld so it looks a little bit like it was intended to. And I think it came out pretty reasonable. I found some nice gray that's similar to the original color, and I just quickly painted it. And there used to be a little gasket around the edge here. I peeled off the gasket, and I'm just going to put some RTV on it. There we go.
Look at that. That is in like Flynn. You can only see a little bit of weld. Yeah, right.
Well, so that about concludes this multi-part series that I'm starting of every single little thing that I do have to fix. You can see right now how the gauges aren't moving. That will be fixed in the future. And stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching.